morning, Meridian, and welcome to Business Buzz, our program where we bring you new chamber members, existing chamber members, and learn a little bit more about them here on our social media platforms. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to TDS Fiber for sponsoring this program and helping us bring this to all of our audience today. Joining me today is Brent Farley with Farley Law.
Hey,
Brent, welcome.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. So, Brett, Farley Law, you're an attorney. Attorneys don't take every type of legal issue. Most usually specialize in a few things. Tell us a little bit about your practice and what areas you focus on.
Right. So the law as a concept is very broad. I think it's impossible to do a great job in every area. So we focus on providing regulatory services for banks and financial services. Couple of developing products and services and get things started. Also provide services for business owners and businesses. One of the things I wanted to do with my practice when I started it was trying to take a lot of material from the financial services industry and other industries I've been working with and kind of present the same tools for small business owners in a way that works for them.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about the financial services side of your practice. We've got a lot of the financial sector. It's one of our biggest segments of our membership. Tell us a little bit more about the services you provide.
Yeah, so I represent about a dozen banks and financial institutions, provide regulatory services, and so that might look like have a regulatory finding or an audit finding, and I need some help with solving that. We'll work through that. It might look like, hey, we'd really like to offer third-party ACH services or ACH services to our customers. We'll get that set up. A lot of other things like that. Set up new deposit programs, other services like that. Also represent a couple of non-bank financial services companies. I've represented several of those for the past few years. So some of the more fun ones, I have a Bitcoin ATM provider, so that's interesting. Another one is a service that offers prepaid card solutions to banks for the customers. So it's kind of a turnkey sort of opportunity for banks and for their customers.
So if I'm a banker, I'm looking for your service to set things up. What else are sorts of problems or questions if I was a banker that I would come to you for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think frequently over the past little while, I've had banks say, "Hey, we'd like to develop further insurance services." So maybe they have some wealth management services for their higher net worth clients, and they want to offer life insurance or other insurance benefits, or maybe the bank just wants to offer, say I have my customer base, they need some auto insurance and some homeowners insurance, and kind of help them put together a service offering. Sometimes that partners with an insurance agency in town to kind of structure that. So banks don't run quite like other businesses. There's a whole regulatory overlay. So we've actually named the banking regulations, given letters. So there's A, B, C, D, E, all the way through Z. I think we're through double Z. So there's a lot to deal with, and so when you're doing something new as a bank, or you're trying to fix an existing process that doesn't work right, you have to back up and look at, kind of step through the mess and find a decent way of doing it.
Well, you mentioned, and we talked about it a little bit earlier before we went live, the Bitcoin ATMs. Tell us a little bit about some of the other interesting projects you've taken on in the past couple of years.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things. So one that might grab your attention a little bit. So there was a public funds embezzlement in Mexico, and I don't really deal with law enforcement all that often, but sometimes banks they see a lot of interesting activity come through the deposit account. So in this instance, a business owner came in and said, "Hey, I need you to take the business partner off the account." This is the bank did. And then the next day, the other business partner came and said, "Hey, I need to take the other."
Who gets served first, right?
Yeah, right. So the bank said, "Oh, wait, what do we do now?" And so they called me, and I started looking through the paperwork, and some things just didn't look right. And so I did a little more research and found some information on the two business partners and some other relatives, and some of them had been arrested, and there were investigations on others, and there was this ring of small businesses that had been set up to run $220 million worth of public funds that had been embezzled from Mexico through the United States through small businesses. Wow. So yeah, this one, a restaurant had given the business owner a check for $150,000 to open a different business, and so it didn't square up. So we dug into it some more.
So you mentioned banks as one of the clientele and focuses that you have, but tell us a little bit more about the services you provide, just business owners, regular business owners.
Absolutely. So when I started this practice, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to kind of repackage some of the tools and techniques and strategies that we use and make it more available for business owners, for small businesses in a way that makes sense for them. So it's things focused on strategies that can make business owners more money, save the money in terms of taxes or avoiding losses that are unnecessary. And also taking the time to address the business and legal risks that a business owner might have, so you can sleep better at night. So you're not wondering, oh, am I really covered here? Well, let's make sure you're covered. Let's make sure you get paid. Let's take the extra time up front to solve the problem that you don't need to have.
How did you get involved with the small business aspect of your practice?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. So one is working with banks. Banks and customers are often small businesses, and I just like working with the two groups. I really enjoyed that. The other is kind of history of entrepreneurship. I started a little business when I was 17. That was kind of fun. I did a little soccer camp for kids. My grandfather had several attempts at starting a foods business. He had this snack that he would make out of cracked wheat. He would deep fry it. It sounds weird, but it tastes really good, right? And so I like all of that, and particularly, if this sounds maybe a little too focused on money, it's not really that. But if the banks are operating correctly, particularly community banks who are focused on communities, and small businesses are running well, then people tend to take home more. And those groups of business owners and businesses tend to be more committed to their communities, and they tend to give back. And so in terms of where can I provide expertise that gives the most positive impact, that's where I think it is.
So Brent, do you handle transactional or litigation work, or both? What's your
transactional?
Okay.
So from my perspective, in a lot of cases, you can resolve disputes and situations outside of litigation. Usually, if you can do that, if the problem is suited for that, then it's cheaper and it's faster, and you come to a much better resolution. At the end of the day, if you go to court, you'll put up a fight. The other party will put up a fight. There'll be some money spent on resources there, and then the award is usually money. Money is not necessarily a solution to the problem in all cases.
Okay. Well, Brent, what is the best way that our members, our audience, may be able to get in touch with you if they're interested in contacting you about some legal services?
Yeah, so you can take a look at the website, farleylawpllc.com. You can get a hold of me at info.farleylawpllc.com, or it goes directly to me or to my staff. We'll get back with you pretty quick. Call my phone number, 737-263-3574. Also, I like to get out and meet people. So if there's a networking event at the chamber, please come say hi.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we really appreciate Farley Law joining the Meridian Chamber, and hope you all will, come out and meet and greet our new members at some of our upcoming events. So, Brent, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today. We appreciate you. Thank you. So, thank you all for joining us today. Join us Friday morning as we're joined by our friend Marlene Robinson and her new company, Black River Performance Management. So thank you all, Meridian, and have a wonderful rest of your week.